Hello, my biddies. How are you? I'm good. Sorry I'm late. I have to get a snack, darn it. Just got back from taking my son to pick up his first new car. He's very excited, he said. Which is cute. But he's been driving our old car. It has almost 200,000 miles on it. That's crazy. Apparently it stops at 299. 99,999,999. It doesn't go to 300,000 miles. So he's at like 170, almost 180,000 miles on it, or 280,000 miles, sorry. 280,000 miles on that car. It's been a good car. It's loud as heck right now. He took it over to my other son's last night because he's taking custody of it. Um, and he says, "What'd you do to this thing?" He called while we were driving down to get the new car. What did he do to this thing? It was funny. So maybe he'll take me for a ride in it tonight. I don't know yet. It's possible. It's possible. So we should probably get right into this because they're also coming over for dinner. His girlfriend says she hasn't seen us in a while and she'd like to see us, which I think is sweet. All right, this is Murdered by Words and it is entitled A Typical Liberal Question. And as you know, Murdered by Words is usually a repost of a post of something. So this is breaking reporter. How long will the war last? Hegseth, typical liberal question. Don't you know Biden was worse? Nasty young man says probably a typical question from the fathers and mothers of the troops that are in harm's way right now. That's for sure. um, Apparently they are implementing in December uh, automatic draft sign up registration. Can't get out of it now, boys. Sorry. Should happen for the girls too, in my opinion. Happens for the boys, it should happen for the girls. You do in other places. They don't discriminate. Do something here. My thing is not going down. I really hate it when my thing doesn't go down. Spear you. Not working at all. It's not there. Oh, trying to do something here. My um, taskbar keeps. I mean, this was. I think it's this one. Yeah, okay. All fixed. Yay, all fixed. My taskbar keeps like not working after a while. If I restart Windows Explorer, it works, but it either won't go down or it hides and it won't come up. It's annoying, super annoying. So let's see if we have any interesting. This is me other this this so me other place says which is the second top rated comic because the first one was just a meme. Um They've no endpoint in mind. There's no plan for what they're doing. Iranian self-governance, U.S. rule for how long? They have no idea. It's just a distraction. They spent years telling us they don't want war with, and that a war with Iran would be bad, and it is. Trump gets put under Epstein pressure, and suddenly the missiles start flying. Total crap show. Uh, Zatzism answers they don't even have goals, and Keg's breath said screw rules of engagement. Yeah, they're like doing war crimes and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. Lano Fear says, I'm thoroughly convinced we're just waging war at this point to distract from ICE and the Epstein files. As much as I want to be proud American, we're so Langdon, it's like embarrassing. Master John says also they might want to use this war to stop the midterms. That's my take. I think they want to stop the midterms, even though it's silly. We all know it's silly. We all know it won't work. But Trump's desperate. He does not want anything to change because it'll go badly for him. Especially the way I'm doing some research on this myself. Especially the way the special elections and the elections since he got into office have been going. It's not good for not a good look for him. Not good at all. I'll let you know when that's done and I'll let you know my results. Okay, next we have our bad reviews, our horrible reviews. By the way, I don't remember if I mentioned it yesterday. We're now in Arches National Park, and we completely skipped American Samoa National Park because they have no one-star reviews. So that's good. Go American Samoa. Um, it's from David B. from the United Kingdom. Oh, my phone's ringing. Give me a moment. Ranging for childcare this weekend. So everybody wants me today. Okay, I think I'm done. Or the notification, but I can't. I don't see it, so I think we're good. All right. So this guy's from the UK. And it says reservations now required to enter Arches National Park. And can not now enter the park between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. unless you have a pre-booked reservation time. It has always been the case that a visitor could turn up early, 7 a.m., in the entry and enter the fantastic park. Now you would be turned away if you have unless you have a reservation number. Arches was one of the reasons we made the journey to the U.S. to be Turned away was major disappointment. We will not be revisiting. Well, A, things changed during COVID. And B, the parks are being overrun. So yeah, do your research before you get there. I'm sure you could have gotten on there the day before and even the day of and gotten a reservation. You should be doing your research before you go places. Just saying, I do all kinds of research. It's ridiculous the amount of research I do sometimes. I just ate something sticky. So it's sticking. Can you see it? Yes, you can. That's good. It's back far enough that you can't see it, but I can feel it. So do your research before you go places, people. Things change all the time, like all the time. Next, we have malicious compliance, and it's entitled Ask Us to Do You a Favor and Then Complain. We can work to rule. I've tried to simplify some of the processes. If something doesn't make sense, let me know. Um, it said, wait, this is wordy, but most of the anecdotes are. Oh, I'm sorry, her. I, female 33, used to work for a company that, among other things, made a particular product that was sold in reasonable quantities to a number of customers. These products were quite large and expensive, but had a relatively short service life, so there was a predictable trend where customers would order replacements. Let's call the customers in this anecdote Lombard and Orange. Okay. The products for each company were slightly differing, so we had to change some tooling and machining processes when swapping between the two. Furthermore, I lost my place. Oh, as part of the manufacturing process, we painted the products. Oranges were unsurprisingly orange, but Lombard requested we left the products unpainted. This was due to some form of copyright issue with their paint swatch, but it wasn't a big deal as they were happy to paint the products themselves. Lombard was a larger company than Orange, and their orders used to outweigh Orange nearly 2 to 1. The product lifestyle was well established to this point, so we knew roughly when orders would be placed and could tailor manufacturing to suit. We had a minor issue when Lombard placed an order on behalf of a subsidiary company they were starting up. It wasn't anybody's fault in particular, but the subsidiary company wanted products painted yellow, whereas the first few batches we completed were accidentally left unpainted, assuming it was a Lombard order. Yeah, if they didn't give anybody a heads up, that's fair. Because of the way the products were made, we didn't have the ability to paint them once fully assembled, so we just left them in storage, um, preempting another Lombard order and remade the products for Lombard Junior, no problem. That makes sense. You keep those products because you know those guys are going to need them at some point, and you make new products for the new company in the color they want. Seems reasonable to me. Orange got in touch one day and said they had an issue where they got their paperwork wrong or something and urgently needed a smaller batch of products as soon as possible. Our contracted lead time for products was 12 weeks. However, because the products were so mature, we could generally get that down to 4 weeks as we started manufacturing ahead of official order being placed. This particular issue with Orange came up whilst we were in the middle of manufacturing components for Lombard, so we didn't have an easy way to stop production to switch to Orange tooling. We gave Orange two options. Option one was to pay a 33% premium and we would start manufacturing right away, which would technically take 12 weeks, but would realistically be about 6. Option two was to take the unpainted Lombard stock we had previously made at the normal price, immediate available, but we would also supply the add-on bits at a minimal cost so that they would have to swap themselves and then paint if they wanted to. Orange took option two, no issues so far. We had very small amount of Lombard stock left, and Orange were happy to sort out the extra work from their side. Everyone wins, right? Well, that's what we all thought. A short while later, our senior management organized a conference with us. We turned up for this conference expecting to be congratulated for appeasing a customer in a tricky spot, or at least given some form of acknowledgement for reducing stock. Instead, we were giving a dressing down because the seniors from Orange had complained to our management that the last order they received was wrong and it wasn't in their colors. Gosh. They'd written as such on their official customer satisfaction reports, which were open across the industry as part of ethical practices. So any company that wanted to order from us would now be able to see that Orange had received unpainted products in the wrong configuration. To say we were pissed off would be an understatement. I would be outraged. I would be outraged. The general feeling was a quiet, simmering rage, the kind where you know everybody is absolutely livid and wholly displeased at what should have been a positive outcome. The management listened to the explanation and took note of the screenshots we shared of emails agreeing to taking the Lombard order. They sympathized with us and confirmed that we'd done nothing wrong, even going so far as to say they knew this particular process worked well and and had therefore left us alone, so they were surprised to hear of an issue. Technically, yes, we were breaking our contract by supplying non-conforming parts, but as this was a rush order, they, our management, appreciated we'd done our best to help Orange, even if they threw it back in our faces. It was actually our management's idea for malicious compliance. Going forward, everything ordered by Orange would be 100% specification, including lead time. They told us to keep doing what we were doing, but instead of sending orders to Orange, send them to our warehouse down the road. They could hang on to them for until the 12-week deadline and then deliver them on the last day possible. Once we got back to our facility, we had a surprise message from our foreman. Whilst we were in this conference, Lombard's management had gotten a hold of our management to reiterate that they were very happy customers, as reflected in their customer satisfaction report, and that the team, us, were a pleasure to work with. I assume this was nonetheless, I assume this was try and prevent any changes to the process, which was working well for Lombard, but we are very grateful nonetheless. Our management, who had seen the message until they got hadn't seen the message until they got back themselves, forwarded it to us as well the next day. Anyway, now maliciously compliant, we got back to work. Nice and friendly with Lombard, our regular calls being a mix of social and business, whereas Orange, we didn't even bother to replying, "How are you?" type questions. Strictly business, strictly professional, no flim flam. A few weeks go by and Orange placed their usual order, of course. They told us in the weeks leading up that they'd be doing so. We just said we'll wait for the official order. This time frame coincided with Lombard letting us know they wouldn't be ordering for a few months, with their subsidiary following a similar timescale. So we got the Orange order complete sooner than expected and sent it to the warehouse. 2 weeks into the 12-week lead time. Remember, I said we would normally complete orders in about 3 weeks. In week 3, Orange asked when they could expect their order. We told them the lead time was 12 weeks. Of course, says the guy from Orange. But you know that's just what the contracts say. When can you actually get those parts to us? 12 weeks from the order date was the response. Week 4, Orange got back in touch to say they were getting close to their limit with their original units, so they would need the replacements as soon as possible. Once again, the reply was that the lead time was 12 weeks. Week 5 and Orange were getting desperate. They asked if we could focus all our attention on getting their units manufactured, which our reply was curt. The production schedule is on to complete a week 12 as per contract. A similar conversation occurred in week 6 and twice in week 7. Week 8, and Orange said their original units were expiring this week, so if we could not deliver this week, then they would be taking their equipment out of service, as they don't work without this particular product. There was more than a little glee in my fingers when I replied, "The production is on track to complete in week 12. We are confident our we are meeting our contracted delivery date." Subsequent weeks go by with more chasers from Orange, with the lorry finally delivering the components to Orange at 16:58 on the day of the 12-week deadline. One of the factory guys who had commenced commercial license had volunteered to drive the lorry and was happily sending us WhatsApp images of him sat at a cafe near the Orange facility an hour before he had planned to finish the delivery. The following week, I made aware of another meeting with our senior management. Unsurprisingly, Orange have complained, so the management wanted to get copies of all of our paperwork to show that we adhered to the contract. The management also let me know that Orange had ended up taking one of their largest products out of service for 3 weeks, which had cost them easily 6 figures in lost revenue. I wasn't present at the seniors meeting, but apparently Orange were prepared to go to the press, but deflated immediately and visibly when our management passed a copy of the contract under their nose. With the pertinent points highlighted, a 12-week lead time was agreed contractually. The products had been delivered within that 12 weeks, so any and all issues were nothing to do with our company. as we had performed 100% our agreed deliverables. Our management was also noted that one of our legal team was present to take notes should any defamatory statements make it to the media. Orange had no angle where they could make us look like we failed. And our management reiterated that after the issues surrounding the rush order and subsequent public comment, this is how we would be conducting business in the future. On a side note, after the meeting, one of the Orange teams studied the paperwork we'd given them, a copy of which included inspection reports for the unit. It was quite upset when we noticed they were dated 10 weeks prior to delivery. So realistically, they could have had them in 2 weeks. This was raised off the record in one of our weekly meetings without senior management, to which we smiled and reminded Orange of the 12-week lead time. I worked at that company for another 2 years. It became standard practice to send orange units to our warehouse and where they'd be delivered on the 12th week. Lombard and their subsidiary continued to receive their units as fast as we could make them. When I left, this was still the case. Orange had to continue to order 12 weeks in advance, which soon became the norm. Customer satisfaction scores remained average for Orange, but with Lombard Jr. now established and ordering enough to qualify for public customer satisfaction scores, their glowing review easily offset the average one from Orange. Mm. Very nudie replies, I work in this industry and I recognize this malicious compliance is truly delicious. Well done. Those ratings are no joke. How dare they make that complaint without getting the facts? Uh, the Burl too answers, yeah, I work in customer service and media manufacturing, and this saga sounded quite familiar. Unusual rush order placed outside the queue. We bust our asses and are rewarded by being complaints and ingratitude for the resulting product being outside of regular specs. In our case, the story wasn't as interesting as funny, but the same idea. The complaints would probably come from one of the client dickheads, VPs who wanted to look tough to his boss and also tried to knock down our rates for the next contract negotiation. I'm going to shorten these a little bit today. Evil buildings. The Oriental Pearl Tower viewed from uh, historical district in Shanghai, China. So that sounds cool. Oriental Pearl Tower. It looks kind of cool. I don't think it looks evil. I think it looks neat. Yeah, it's a cool building. I like it. I disagree. It's not evil. Next, we have AITAH, and it's entitled AITAH for moving out after my wife let our kids move home. My wife and I have been married for 30 years. We have 2 adult children, both have degrees and careers. 6 months ago, our daughter moved home after a breakup. I offered to help her get an apartment, but her mom said I was being heartless and let her move home. 4 months ago, our son moved back home because his job offered him the opportunity in our city, and he had moved away to accept a job in a rural town straight out of college. This isn't unusual. Kids boomerang sometimes. If my kid had a breakup right now, he might come home. I don't know. He might not. He can be on his own. Both kids are employed and able to support themselves prior to their mom allowing them to move home. I talked to my wife because our bills started going up. All of our utilities increased with the kids back home. Also, our grocery bills, it's nuts how much more money I have to put in. Once again, she said I should be happy the kids are home. I tried talking to the kids individually and together, and they understood my position, and then the little wangers went and cried to their mom. I said, wang it. I talked to my boss and took a contract that takes me out of town for a month at a time. I've been avoiding these because I'm old and have seniority. I put my share of the budget in our shared accounts and went to work, and it was glorious. I had a hotel room to myself, $160 a day for living allowance. The work is simple. I called my wife every day to check and see how things are going. First month, everything went well. I got my week off. I went for walks every morning and had breakfast out. Lunch, I ate out again and just meal replacement smoothie or bar. And then dinner, I ate at local restaurants. I got home, watched some TV, and went to sleep. Second month, my wife asked me for money while I was away. I asked why. She said that her budget didn't cover the bills. I asked for proof of what the budget we agreed on did not cover the bills, and that there was a sudden rise in the bills. She said I knew damn well why the budget wasn't covering the bills, and I told her to make them pay their part. She wouldn't and took the extra money from her savings. I took my week off and visited my family in Ireland. The third month we were talking, and she said the kids are giving her money, but it wasn't enough. How can it not be enough? They have full-time jobs. If they boomerang, they should be paying rent if they have a job, especially. I asked how much I give her. She's $100 a week for groceries and utilities. That is not enough. It's $400 a month. So 200 total, and it didn't cover the bills. Oh no, that's probably a month. They're probably just giving she's getting $200 a month from the kids. I was shocked. I said it wasn't going to pay to house and feed 3 adults with full-time jobs that couldn't afford to pay their own way. For the record, 3 of them together earn almost twice what I do. I can they can absolutely take care of themselves. My wife is basically begging me for money now. The money she would normally use for her hair and other beauty appointments is now going for groceries. She's skipping out on meeting up with her friends because she doesn't have the money. She asked me to talk to the kids about giving more money. I laughed and I said I had done that, and they tattled to her, and she said I was a monster for being mean to her poor babies. That's an exaggeration. It didn't happen exactly that way. Before you ask, I love my kids, but I feel no need to pay for their lives. My wife and I have lots of problems, but we are working on them and we were doing okay before she decided to let the kids move back home. I'm a grumpy old bastard. I like my privacy. I like not having to wait for a bathroom at home. You don't have enough bathrooms that you have to wait for the bathroom? That's sad. Like, how much how big is this house that the kids, poor kids grew up in? Each of our kids are able to support themselves without my money. Our son got a promotion and a raise to move back to the city. He could afford his own home and bills. He just wants me to pay for them. Our daughter is dating a different guy and she can afford her own place. I would have no problem housing her while she was getting over her breakup. I would prefer not to divorce over this, but I will not support 3 working adults. I worked hard to be able to have a pretty good life and I deserve to enjoy it. AITA for leaving them to deal with their own expenses. No, not really. I mean, the kids should be contributing more. It's been 3 months, over 3 months, really. Um, so, it's been over 3 months, they're still there. They need to make a plan, have them make a plan to move out. What is your plan? You have a job, you're working. It's not like you're starting a new business or going to school, which I fully support that. But you have a job. You have a job that you could move out with. Go. I get money, your privacy, and you're quiet. It's enjoyable. I also love my kids, and if they boomeranged, I would, we would put a plan in place. Nidal says, my parents let me move home a couple of times for transition periods in my adult life. Always ended up being in the summer for some reason. I never expected them to cover everything while I was fully employed and capable. Absolutely not. Exactly. That says, I paid more than these kids are paying the day I moved back after uni before I started my next job. That's just part of being an adult. Hope you should tell the kids if they divorce, the house will be sold, so they should make suitable arrangements to move out now. Uh, Pity Lover says, I paid $100 a month in 1984. Elix Toad says, I paid $500 a month in 1984. And RFP says, I wasn't even born in 1984. Sir Lancelot says, I read 1984. Oh, Epiphany Sunday says, my daughter's English teacher had never heard of the novel 1984. They were discussing current text. The memory police and my daughter raised potential similarities between the themes of the 2 books. I'll have to look up the memory police. Teacher had no idea. Even worse, thought Big Brother was just a TV show. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, no, that's not cool. It was by Agawa. I think she's a good writer, if I remember correctly. Next, we have Neighbors from Hell, and it is entitled Neighbor Upset About Fence We Installed with HOA Approval. Well, too bad. So sad. My husband and I just moved into our home on February 3rd. This is basically our dream home, and we've worked really hard to get here, so this situation is pretty upsetting. So they've been there a little more than a month at this point, probably. Shortly after moving, we had a property survey done because we planned to install a fence for our dogs. The fence was approved by our HOA before installation. The first interaction we had with our neighbor, we'll call her Nellie. I love it. Well, so when my husband waved to her at the mailbox and she just stared and didn't respond, not a big deal, but it was the first sign that something might be off. A couple of weeks later, our fencing contractors started installing the fence. Nellie came outside and demanded they stop working. The contractors told her they had homeowner approval and HOA approval and continued working. Good for them. She then called the head of the neighborhood committee to complain. The committee had actually called my husband afterward and said she was being unreasonable and seemed surprised by her behavior. Interesting. Not usually how that goes. Fast forward to this week when the fence was completed. My husband was sitting in the backyard with our dogs, and Nellie came out to the fence and introduced herself. And she immediately said the fence is not going to work. Her complaints were one, fence doesn't match her fence. It was HOA approved. Talk to the HOA. Two, it's about a foot taller than hers. Okay, and three, it's close to the property line. Fences usually are pretty close to the property line. Four, we did not come to talk to her before installing. She said that would have been the neighborly thing to do and that it was disrespectful not to ask first. I'm sorry, you're not in charge of my yard, lady. For context, our fence is actually right on the property line, and ours is a few inches inside our property based on the survey. She also complained about her dogs barking around 7 a.m., saying it was unreasonable that we allow our dogs to go in and out through the dog door instead of walking them. That's why I have a doggy door, lady, and why I have a fence. She said it's not acceptable that our dogs might be outside when she has guests over. Oh my goodness. Oh, she's the first person, she's the star of her own show, isn't she? She's a star actor in her own life. She mentioned that she's part of the neighborhood committee and that she's going to see what she can do. I think it's a little late. She also said she doesn't think we're a good fit for the neighborhood and mentioned she's lived there for 21 years. Maybe you're not a good fit for the neighborhood. Maybe it's you, lady. My husband told her the fence was HOA approved and based on a survey. He said he also planned to install cameras to the backyard so we can monitor if the dogs are barking excessively. She responded by saying we're being too analytical. At one point, oh geez. At one point, her husband came out and the conversation became a little more reasonably toned. He said they're good Christians and seemed frustrated about the situation, but nothing really got, got resolved. I hate when people do that. We've already told the HOA chair we're fine with them coming onto our side if they need to ask us to fence for maintenance. So my question is, how would you handle this going forward? We want to be good neighbors and we're trying to not trying to cause problems, but we also followed HOA rules and installed the fence on our own property. I'm also starting to worry she might call animal control over the dog barking. For any advice for people who've dealt with difficult neighbors like this? Well, as for the dogs barking, make sure they're not barking excessively. And once you do that, record them not barking excessively. She's got to prove her point. She's got to prove it. So it's on her to prove it. Living the DB dream says, the more attention you give her, the more she'll feel entitled to squawk about the fence. I'd just ignore her. You did everything by the book. Her beef is with the HOA, not you. Yeah. Okay, well, says if her fence is on the property line, she may be in violation of side yard requirement. You might offer forgiveness and see if that helps with this devout Christian. If she's in violation, you know what you know what to do. Then I think they meant then. And Salisbury Witch says if the requirement is that the fence be offset by the boundary line, she may be in violation of the HOA bylaws. Exactly. That's where you get her. I don't understand putting up a fence when there's already a fence, though. That's just me. Found Satan, and it is entitled Circumcision Satan. I remember placing myself in a pro-circumcision conversation one day online, pretending I wanted to have my child circumcised. Once everyone voiced her hardest support, I dropped that the imaginary child was a girl. Oh, the chaos was glorious. Yeah, that's just evil. That's just mean. Next we have just no mother-in-law. Oh, and it's an update. So, oh, you want that? No, it looks like we already read that. Or at least we will in a few days. Hold on, I gotta do some research here. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna save that one for later. That's that's not right. The color I meant. Still not right. Oh, way up there. Okay. There we go. All right. We'll go down here. Oh, I better they delete a lot of these, so I'm gonna make sure it's there. Also an update. Oops. Hold on, bear with me, please. Yeah. Okay. It looks like we did not read it. Okay. Here we go. There are two updates. Okay. um. So this is from Just No Mother-in-Law about 2 months ago. It's entitled "Mill defrauded my partner of $100,000 and keeps adding personal expenses onto us." Hi, everybody. I'm looking for advice because I feel like I've walked into a situation I have no prior experience with, and it's starting to affect my mental health. I, 24 female, live with my partner, 27 male, at his house, which he owns in a shared mortgage. Recently, we discovered that the house isn't set up the way we were led to believe. My partner and his brother are both listed as one-third owners on the mortgage with their mom. He also has trusted that he pays an equal third of costs and bills. He doesn't have access to the loan, which and didn't understand how equity or liability worked. The last few weeks, I've discovered that the loan was originally $400,000 in 2021, has since grown to over $600,000. I did more digging, which uncovered multiple lenders, refinances, redraws, and debt consolidations, all done by her to cover personal debt and credit cards. My partner did not consent to any of these. He blindly trusted his blood relative to do the right thing. He put a signature on each request. There's been a disturbing amount of lies. I found letters from the mortgage provider addressed to my partner, scrunched up in the bin, and the brother was told that he had been removed from the loan and replaced with her partner when he bought his own home a few years ago. It has recently come to light that this was a lie. He remains liable. Between my partner and his brother, they paid a combined $6,000 a month toward a $400,000 mortgage for the last 3 years until the brother moved out. I believe she was using the extra money to redraw and use herself. Probably, yeah. At the same time, personal purchases were rolled into shared costs without consent. Recently, she has bought a full new diner set because she liked it and added it to our monthly power bill without telling us. We also recently learned we are both paying his full-grown sister's full share of electricity and water without our knowledge. Last year, she decided she wanted a pool against my partner's wishes, and he wanted to keep the garden for the dogs, telling him she'd taken out a personal loan for it when she went ahead and refinanced the mortgage. When the boys raise concerns, she becomes very emotional, defensive, and evasive. This is financial abuse, by the way. And she says she'll be homeless if anything changes. She also insists brother is off the loan despite going ongoing mail addressed to him from the bank. My partner is starting to realize he doesn't actually know what he's legally liable for. I'm trying very hard not to make this a hostile situation, but I feel utterly trapped in a household where finances are opaque and boundaries don't exist. I'm not the borrower, but I understand the situation far better than my partner, and I'm scared for him. My partner wants to understand and fix it, but he's overwhelmed by the guilt tripping and gaslighting from his mother. I don't want to push him or damage their relationship. I also can't keep living like this. My heart sinks every time I come home from work. That relationship's already damaged. I wouldn't worry about damaging it any further. It's already damaged. You don't have to worry about that. For clarity, he's not a anonymous boy, just an eldest son with a very deep sense of protecting those he loves. However, his trust and loyalty puts me first. He knows out of this nightmare that he's been lied to and taken advantage of. What would have been a $330,000 earning from the sale of this house, which was only ever purchased in order to get everyone to boost the property ladder, is now looking more like 60 to 70,000. My question, what the hell do I do? I'm exhausted and honestly, I would just want stability again, and any advice from people who've dealt with enmeshed parents or shared mortgages would really help. Get a lawyer. The cat says, get a lawyer. Downtown Bag says, scream mama's a boy. And Team Tuna Fish says, get find a good accountant and let him loose. It's the only way you'll get clarity. Okay. Um, okay, update. Things are getting worse. Update number 2. We got a house. It's perfect. And bizarrely, it's on the exact same street as the one we got rejected from. Guess the universe works in mysterious ways. 3 beds, a sunroom, balcony, a huge garden, and shed. I have my space for my sewing room. Mother-in-law doesn't know yet, but my partner's job to figure it out. Frankly, I could care less about her reaction. I'm just so happy for our lives to finally begin. First, thank you so much for all your advice and kind words in my last post. I read them all many times over and it helped more than you know. A lot have happened since then, and I think I've hit the point where I'm no longer coping. We tried to secure a rental so we could physically leave the house while the sale mortgage situation gets sorted. I put a huge amount of effort into applications, references, employment letters, paperwork. I basically carried the entire process because my partner shuts down when overwhelmed and has grown accustomed to mother in law controlling everything. So he never grew up. He never grew up. Mommy always took care of him. The house was perfect. 2 beds, a big garden for the dogs, and a spare room for me to finally set up my sewing space, which I've been desperate for and unable to have since moving in with this family. Our application was unsuccessful. I just got the email. I'm absolutely gut-wrenchingly devastated. It wasn't just a house, it was my exit. It was the first real step toward having a life in space that wasn't controlled by his mother. Living there is affecting me badly, and sitting in my car after work because I dread going inside. I have no privacy, no creative space, no autonomy. I feel like a guest in someone's house, emotional in someone else's emotional ecosystem, while also financially contributing to it. I'm constantly hyper aware of what his mother is doing and what bills will appear and what conflict is coming up next. My partner acknowledges things are wrong. He's now taken action. There's plenty of meeting with the broker scheduled for Friday when he will tell her they are selling and there's no further discussion. I feel like I'm carrying the emotional weight of this situation while also being the person most harmed by it. I hope they got a lawyer because their mother probably owes them a bunch of money. There was also something small that affected me more than I expected. Myself and husband's brother's partner go to a Pilates studio that has been one of the only places I can feel calm and separate from the house. Today, after previously having zero interest in Pilates and being dismissive of it, mother-in-law signed up to the same studio. Oh, good Lord, this woman. Logically, I know she is allowed to go anywhere she wants. Emotionally, I feel like it's the last space that was just mine was taken too. I realize I don't actually have anywhere in my daily life that isn't connected to this family system anymore, not even somewhere I go to be decompress. It made me feel watched and unable to mentally switch off even outside the house. I think that's when I understood how much the situation is affecting me psychologically. I'm starting to realize the real issue isn't the house or the mortgage, or even if the house sells. The underlying dynamic still exists. He is deeply conditioned to manage his mother's emotions, and I don't know if he's actually capable of separating from that role. I don't want to give up on someone I love because they were raised in a dysfunctional system, but I also feel myself deteriorating staying here. For people who have lived this, is distance finally forced to change, or is the at the usual stage where you realize they can't detach? How do you tell the difference between a partner who needs time to learn to unlearn enmeshment, and a partner who will always choose the parent indirectly through inaction? I feel like I'm genuinely at my wit's end. Please help. Kind words and advice are appreciated. Next update. um, I'm packing my bags tonight. I'm going to live with my parents until we can move into our rental. I don't know a if our relationship can survive this at this stage. I've done more than my share. I'm linking the previous post for context because the situation escalated today in a way I cannot abide. There was supposed to be a meeting with a broker to discuss the house and mortgage situation. The meeting had been booked for early this evening, and everyone involved believed it was still the plan. What we later discovered is that she moved the meeting to earlier in the day and didn't tell anyone, then attended it alone with the broker. And the broker didn't call her out on this? Bad broker. Afterwards, she told my partner that she sorted everything out. It was and was extremely upbeat mood about it. According to her version of events, it's apparently going to be easy to remove the brother-in-law from the loan. She says she can buy my partner out for 72,000. She also said she's completely fine with us moving out because someone connected with her partner can just move into the spare room instead. The thing that's making me suspicious is that we previously told by the broker that buyout like this wasn't financially possible. So the sudden claim of everything now is simple and resolved doesn't add up. My partner is now saying he just wants the whole situation over with and is going to accept the payout and walk away. And I'm going to sneeze, just warning. My perspective, though, the house was built up through years of work and financial contribution from him and his brother. There has been a lot of dishonesty and manipulation throughout this entire situation. And if she keeps the property and later sells it, she will benefit from a large increase in value while the others walk away with far less than they invested. The secrecy around the meeting and the sudden easy situation feels very off to me. It- Your boyfriend, whatever, needs to call the broker and ask him what went on in the meeting and why he did the meeting without the other two of them present. Simple. At this point, I've also reached my personal limit with her behavior. I'm no longer having a relationship with her going forward. If we stay together, she will have no access to me or our future children. I told my partner he has failed to have my back. He balked at this, said he has my back the most. I ended up replying, "You have not. You have allowed her to repeatedly scam, lie, and manipulate me without ever confronting her or putting a stop to it. Now you are allowing her to keep the home you and your brother worked so hard for less than what you even put into it. She will sell and keep all of the profit herself. That is not having my back. That is protecting and prioritizing her comfort." We had a huge fight, and I told him my conditions were that I have no further relationship with her. I told him she is a NC non-contact, and I am in disbelief at the depth of her lies and manipulation. Manipulation. I told him she's an evil person. That is where he stopped me and said, "I won't have anyone talk about my mom like that. I'm done with this entire back crap crazy family. I'm officially checked out." Do not blame you, OP, at all. Oops, did I miss one? Crap. I think I was reading the wrong one all along. Um, there was another update, I believe. Hold on. Oh no. Okay. Where did I go? Where did I get this one from? Oh, there it is. Okay. I found it. Okay. Last update. Was a month ago. Mother-in-law defrauded her sons out of $1,000. Oh no, that's just a repeat of the other one. Never mind. So that's all we know. She's out. They had a big fight and she's out. Good for her. Need that. I don't need that. All right. Next, we have petty revenge, and it isn't tired. Cut ex's internet off for the whole family after she cheated. My ex, 27 female, and I, 27 male, were together for over a year. I moved out pretty quick, moving into the house she rented with her two kids, 5 and 8 years old. 6 months in, she cheated. Long story short, we stayed together. I moved out and got my own apartment because I had already set up my name for her internet, and we were staying together. I just kept paying it. It wasn't expensive, but $30, and she and her kids used it for free. I mean, that's fair if you're living in this house. I had my TV in the living room along with my Xbox and iPad that I let the kids use. When I moved out, I never took those items back because the kids liked using them. Sounds like a nice guy. I mean, a good guy. Well, 6 months after the first affair, she cheated. This time a week after our first anniversary and days before my birthday with the same guy. She left me unread for hours when I asked if she had spent the night with him, finally responding by sending me a shared notes app document saying yes she did and she's been having a great time. That's cold, man. I felt all those typical feelings of hurt that I felt before, anger, confusion, self-doubt. I didn't respond for a few days, and one of those days I realized the internet bill was due. So I pulled the app up and began poking around on the settings. I realized I could toggle the internet on and off remotely. Maybe only an hour of debating is when I decided to pull the trigger and disconnect it for them. You might think it's not a big deal, but I know how reliant those devices were to getting the kids to cooperate as a distraction motivator, trying to get the kids to do anything. The 8-year-old loved Minecraft and the 4-year-old loved the iPad. It was a great bargaining tool for getting them to clean or staying out of the way when cooking or cleaning. Great times when we just needed an hour to ourselves to unwind or a way to bond with the kids and participate in what they were up to. These devices were a major help most days. I knew that by cutting the Wi Fi, the kids would start throwing a fit and causing my ex's day to be more difficult. I didn't know that if they realized immediately or if they would come home after a long day and try to relax and get nighttime routines going and then be met with unexpected silence. That was about 9 months ago. So maybe I left out some details. Not my proudest moment, but I don't regret it. You shouldn't regret that. You shouldn't pay for other people's internet. And it's completely your right to cut them off. And it's completely your right to cut off Netflix or anything else for an ex that you're not living with anymore. Next is from Am I the Jerk? And it is entitled AITJ for telling my friend her handsome handmade, sorry. AITJ for telling my friend her handmade Etsy shop is literally just AliExpress drop shipping. My friend has been running this Etsy shop for like 8 months now, constantly posting on Instagram about her small business and how everything is handcrafted with love and asking people to support her journey, blah, blah, blah. I bought one of her resin keychain as a gift for my sister, like $14. And when it arrived, I immediately recognized it because I had seen the same exact keychain, same mold, same color swirls on AliExpress for $1.20. I did a reverse search image and found her entire shop catalog on there. Oh, jeez. Confronted her privately, she admitted she just buys bulk from AliExpress and relists them. Fine, whatever. People do that, but the handmade thing is genuinely illegal on Etsy, and she's charging people 10 times the price on a lie. So report her to Etsy. I'd report her. I wouldn't even say anything to her. I'd have just reported her to Etsy. She keeps brushing it off, so I finally told her I wasn't going to keep quiet about it, especially because she was actively encouraging people to buy from her instead of soulless corporations to support a real maker. Now she's saying I betrayed her and that I should mind my own business because she has like $3,000 saved up from steak and the shop is her main income. I get that people need money and I've been there. I've had months where I was budgeting every single dollar just to get it by, but lying to your customers and calling yourself a small artisan when you're literally just a reseller feels wrong to me. Her boyfriend also texted me saying I was jealous of her success, which, okay, AITJ. No. Great internet. And NTJ says NTJ, she's doing what's called false advertising. Sherry says if she's listing mass produced stuff like it's handmade, that's straight up false advertising. I'd be annoyed too because people pay extra on Etsy expecting actual handmade work and not cheap reseller nonsense. Exactly. Entitled people, entitled so sorry. I wanted to apologize to the lady out with her dog this weekend. I was out with everyone else strolling along the river in the nice weather when your dogs approached. As is the law, there were people everywhere, including kids, elderly, and physical disabled, as well as tons of dogs. I had my dog leash. I was woefully, inexcusably unaware that you actually own the river. I didn't know the rules don't apply to you. I'm ashamed and I admit that I don't know how special you were, or I would have kicked my dog into the river and genuflected when your unleashed, unsupervised dogs ran right into my dog's face. I should have ordered him to roll over and be attacked, naturally offering myself up for attacking as well. You were, of course, perfectly right when you ran up yelling at me to get my dog that was leashed and staring at your dogs in confusion. And when you grabbed your dogs, you said you left the leash behind. I obviously should have immediately ran up and collected it for you. I was clearly in the wrong for saying that it should have been on your dogs and totally deserve the nasty look you gave me. Please forgive me. Now that I know how special you are, I'm anxiously awaiting for the next rain, just so I can lay myself out over any puddles for Milady. Retired home ec teacher says, best rant ever. Your way with words is just wonderful. Please stop before flagellation. OP says, thank you, drops whip with sigh of relief. Next we have SpongeBob cake. Woo! SpongeBob cake. This was the cake my daughter wanted for her 26th birthday, something nostalgic. We were big fans of cake fails, nailed it, etc. So we were prepared for possible Doug. Okay. We love SpongeBob. We love SpongeBob in our house too. Oops. So there's your cake. It's a lovely cake. I really like the cake. Oh, not bad at all. It's the first one. Yeah, it has the plastic face. So yeah, that's like perfect. Perfection. Woo! Good for them. It's a nice little SpongeBob cake. SpongeBobbity bob bob bob. Push, 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 push. If you know. Doodlebug says absolutely nailed the cake, but it would have been funnier last year. There's a thing that 25 is really funny for some reason. I don't understand it. I thought I thought it's something funnier than 24. Let me hear it. 25. That's what my son turned 25 last year, and his brother and sister both just texted 24, 20. Just texted 25 to him for his birthday. All right, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I try to go live at least 4 times a week, usually about noon Eastern time. Yeah, I was late yesterday, and I'm late today. Today I was doing something nice for somebody. Okay, it was my own kid, but still. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. If you have a story of your own or come across a good one in the wilds, please send us an email entitled submission. If you would like an email to today's current live, send an email entitled subscribe. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com, and the email address is also in the description. Next, we have a realty, and it says does not have a doesn't have a link. Just have to go by the thing. It says just think of how much money they save by passing on that gimmicky finished ceiling. Look, everyone's done to death. Don't know what that means. But here's the house. That's not even a house. That's a garage. That's just the garage. You can't read all of it. We got Margaritaville again. Wasting away. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but I don't care. It's only 12:30 before I go insane. Oh my. Once again, this is just a garage. This is not a house. This is a garage um apartment, not a house. It's a nice garage apartment. But why does the ceiling look like that? It's terrible. You could at least finish the ceiling. I agree. Tip of the war says when you want exposed beams but can't pay enough to do it the right way. Gus Chivrel says overexposed beams. Next, we have Only at Planet Fitness. It's a title to poor teens making minimum wage had to clean her crap every morning for weeks. This is they're very professional about it. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Defecating or urinating anywhere besides the toilet will result in immediate cancellation. Please clean up after yourselves and let us know of any biohazardous material. Somebody was not using the toilet properly. I can tell you that. And I know people can be gross. My family owns a campground and I used to have to clean the bathrooms. Disgusting. Corvette says that they find out a way to get out of a gym membership without spending 3 hours on the phone. I have not joined a gym, but I understand sometimes it can be extremely hard to get out of them for some reason. I don't know why. Like those people just want money. They're just money grabbers. Next, we have Confession. It is entitled Free Breakfast Club at Hotels You're Not Staying At. For years, I've been going to hotels I'm not staying at and casually having breakfast. Free coffee, free fruit. Don't get me started on the waffle station. Sometimes I'll swim in the pool or hot tub afterwards. I have a collection of hotel keys from various stays. I put the card on my table and no one says a word. I've only been busted once, and I'm pretty sure it's because my ex kept tagging the hotel in posts. Dummy. Even then, the manager only followed us out and told us not to do it there again. So I just don't go back there. I feel like this is kind of victimless crime. They make and throw away so much food. It's disgusting. I realize they can't afford to feed the world. However, I don't think many people do it. Many more people should. Had I known I could just walk in and eat, I would have done it in my 20s when I was super broke. I went without eating lots of times back then and didn't actually have to do that. I could have just walked in and ate. Who's done it? Hold It Inside says, honestly, someone who worked in a hotel breakfast shift, we knew. We just didn't get paid enough to care. The real victims are the waffle batter leftovers. That disco song you hate says, the real victim was the microwave after somebody ignored 4 signs about not microwaving the hard boiled eggs. Why would you microwave a hard boiled egg? I didn't give one damn if you were a guest or not, so long as you weren't being an ass in some way, like leaving messes for me. Official Greg says I worked night audit and often had to cover breakfast bar when shift staff called in. I had to have a painfully frustrating conversation with management about hard boiled eggs in the microwave. Multiple massive signs about it. Absolutely do not microwave hard boiled eggs. Fair enough. All I asked management, what is the microwave for? And they looked like me like I was an idiot. Well, I went over what we served: muffins, bagels, toast, cereal, yogurt, coffee, fruit, hard boiled eggs. So I asked again, other than blowing up a hard boiled egg, what are you expecting the guest to microwave? Surrounded by idiots. Somebody said they bring in their own food to heat. Hot Pass says, I've never done it, but in general, it's amazing what you can get away with just by acting like you belong somewhere and know what you're doing. Fuentha says, a few years ago in my city, we were tearing down a 130-year-old stone church that was really beautiful but dilapidated. I've been commuting past it for years and always wanted to go in and check it out. So I put on a white button-down shirt and a lanyard around my neck and walked into one. One of the guys says, "Are you with the inspector's office?" And I just walked by him and went in and took some pictures. I wish I had bravery like that. I do not. Somebody says, I worked in hotels and I knew. Sometimes I would say something, sometimes not. So they know. They just don't care, I guess. The new dime design has removed the olive branches from the eagle. Is that true? This is from Interesting AF. Is that true? Do you think that's true? I don't know. Liberty over tyranny, as we live in a tyrannical state. That's nice. Olive branch meaning, this is from No Control. The arrows in the olive branch together symbolize that the United States has a strong desire for peace but will always be ready for war. The eagle has its head turned toward the olive branch on its right side to symbolize a preference for peace. And now it's looking at empty talons. Where the wang did it go? FYI, the U.S. coinage is reviewed by the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee. Blah, blah, blah. Part of the semi-quincentennial coin program minted for 1 year only, and old designs to the dime and other coins returned in 2027. And all of these were created and approved during the Biden administration. This is a tribute to the American Revolution. The eagle carrying the arrows without the olive branch and the liberty over tyranny motto were meant to symbolize the struggle for independence around the revolution area. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Okay, I'm happy now. I'm happy. Next we have Am I the A-hole? AITAH for thinking my daughter will look back and wonder why we treated her differently. No, you are not the a-hole for thinking that, because that's completely true. When you get an adult and you're like, holy crap. Because I've done that. Our son, 5, Ken, was born on St. Patrick's Day. When I was near my due date with our daughter, too, Amy, I hoped she'd be born on 11/11, so both my kids would have a lucky holiday birthday, but she wasn't. Second kid is 100% a thing. I haven't felt as controlling of things for her as I did when Ken was born, and making everything just right. There was a lot of anxiety when he was born, could pertain to being a COVID baby. Ken has had a party every year since his first birthday with all of our friends and family. Amy had a small party in our home with some close friends and even fewer friends invited due to size. We wanted to have a big party and planned to maybe hold one later for her, but we weren't able. She did get a big party at her second birthday, but I still feel guilty about the first one. I wouldn't worry about too much about a first birthday party. The kids do not remember, even a second one. I don't even think we got gifts for our kids when they were for their first birthday. We had a party for the family. That's more for the family, it's not for the baby. 2 years ago, I was babysitting my niece, and she was saying she needed to make a leprechaun trap for school. We helped her build one and built one ourselves. This is the third year a leprechaun has been to our house causing mischief for a week before the 17th, and this is where the real issue begins. I thought that the leprechaun was a new thing that parents were doing for their kids, like the elf on the shelf. In no way did I think it was going to be strictly a leprechaun visiting Ken because of his birthday. This is what it has turned into. Oh, that's not good. Ken also gets excited about Rascal each year, third year doing it. But apparently, neither my brother nor my sister did this for their kids. Did it the last two because leprechauns are only coming for kids born on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know how the heck that happened. This all sounds weird to me because I have never heard of Rascal the Leprechaun before. My mom made a comment when I was picking both kids up last night that she was told differently. I didn't get to talk to my husband last night about it, but we woke up early to decorate this morning. This is the third year that Ken had woken up to balloon streamers everywhere for his birthday. I asked husband if we were leaving some coins behind for Amy. He said no, since the leprechaun was only there for Ken. That's rude. I would never. I asked if that meant we were going to do something special for Amy's birthday then, and he said no. He said that by the time she's old enough to realize there was a leprechaun for Ken's birthday, we would have stopped because Ken will be too old to know they are real. They're only 3 years apart. Unless you're stopping now, it's over. Because at 3 years old, she gonna know. I don't believe that's true. We started the leprechaun when Ken turned 3, so only 8 months older than Amy is now. Even if we do it 2 more times, it's enough for her to know. Exactly. Also, when she's an adult, I don't want her to look back and wonder why we basically did a week-long celebration for her brother's birthday, where he'd get to wake up to streamers and balloons everywhere, and she didn't. Agreed. Coupled with the first birthday of the second child syndrome, what's going to worry about her feeling differently. My husband thinks I'm ridiculous for wanting to figure something out for her birthday. We fought about it, and he thinks I'm the a hole for trying to make things more difficult. Edit to everyone who genuinely responded, thank you. After I sit for a bit, I proceeded to do more mischievous things besides the balloons and streamers. I made a note for the leprechaun saying how he loved the balloons and streamers mom and dad put up for Ken's birthday, and I hoped the kids had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. He enjoyed visiting them both. He left both the kids some money. I waited until the kids got up. I let my son know me and his father did the birthday streamers and balloons and read him the note so he is well aware that the leprechaun was for both him and Amy. I don't think that he himself realized or thought that the leprechaun was only for him or that it was, as that was never my intention. I also made a big deal with Amy, showing her what the leprechaun left her. When I told my husband what we were going to be decorating the house every year for both kids, and they will know that it's us and not some magical creature. I feel for every one of you that were made to feel less than another sibling or cousin. I will make sure to do my absolute best to make sure neither of my kids ever feels that way or that thinks that they were unequal. Good. Marzipan Civil says the fact that Ken's birthday is on St. Patrick's Day has nothing to do with the fact that he wakes up to a house full of balloons and streamers and his birthday is celebrated for a full week. You can't put up balloons and streamers for Amy. You can put up balloons and streamers for Amy, and you can have a party for Amy. Her birthday is special because it's her birthday. It doesn't need to be an external celebration to add it. Edited NTA for wanting to make sure both kids have a special day. Now you need to make sure your daughter's third birthday and future birthdays are fun for her. Your husband is currently the a-hole for wanting to treat the kids differently. Yeah, exactly. What? Where? What person would think that like that? It's so wild. International Fee says you are treating her differently. She doesn't get have second child syndrome. She has crappy parents and crappy family who treat her like a second class citizen. And Key South says, you and this notion of lucky birthdays created this problem. You can stop it. Stop with the leprechaun thing. Let your kid wake up to streamers just because it's his birthday and do the same for your second kid. You're going to eventually piss off your eldest kid if you keep associating his birthday with St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, your birthday is St. Patrick's Day. We can celebrate St. Patrick's Day because it's your birthday. No, they should not be intermeshed. It sucks having a birthday near a holiday. I say this as someone whose birthday is close to Christmas, 100%. Pet peeve. Do not ever, ever wrap my birthday present in Christmas wrapping. Ever. Not cool. Also, do not combine my Christmas present and my birthday present. Not cool. Not cool. The holiday inevitably overshadows your birthday. The best you can do for both your kids is just make their birthdays about them specifically. If you do that, you'll be acting fairly with both of them. YTA. I think both the parents are, well, she wants to quit. The husband, not so much. Sailor Shibi says that so much this. My birthday's also very close to Christmas, and the thing my mom did for me as a kid was celebrate my birthday near the start of December instead. I have a cousin who was my best friend back then. She was born the first week of December, so we usually got a joint birthday party, which was so much fun, not celebrating close to Christmas. Opie is going to give her kid real hatred of St. Patrick's Day this at this rate. I can sense this turning into a kid who doesn't want to celebrate his birthday at all because it inevitably becomes all about St. Patrick's Day. Gloomheart says, my nephew was born on Christmas Day. I have a nephew born on Christmas Day also. I tried to get them to have him on my birthday, but it didn't work. And every single year, his day looks like this: wake up, Christmas, Santa was here, then spend the morning doing Christmas things. Family then takes him and his siblings out for lunch while my sister in law stays home, tears everything Christmas related, and redecorates with birthday paraphernalia. I love that. Nephew arrives home with family after lunch, and it's party day for the rest of the day. I've helped her do it a couple of years, and holy crap, it's a lot of work, but she always does it for him. I think it's the sweetest thing. That's nice. I love that. I absolutely love that. If I lived closer to my sister, I would do that for my nephew, great nephew, for my niece. If I lived closer to my niece, I would do that for my great nephew. Yeah, because having your, I had another friend whose daughter was born on Christmas, and she always celebrated like the last weekend of November. She always had her birthday party. Mine's 12 days before Christmas, so it's fine to have a party that and then have another party. Except that people have other parties on the weekend of your birthday. Next is Overheard. It's entitled If I Really Wanted That, I'd Be Dating a Woman. Grocery store, a couple in their mid 30s. She talks about a haircut she had. Him, wait, when did you go to the hairdresser? Her, week before last. Him, truly apologetic. Oh goodness, I'm so sorry. I never noticed. It suits you really well. Her, it's all right. It's been stressful lately. Him, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at noticing those things. Her, it's okay if I really wanted somebody who noticed I've been dating a woman. Oh, she's a good girl. She's a good girl for not being mad. I mean, my husband, sometimes takes me a couple days before I notice that my husband went over to my daughter-in-law's to get a haircut, unless he tells me. Next we have, I finally told my old boss why I quit and he just laughed. So this happened yesterday. I'm still kind of processing it. I ran into my old boss at a coffee shop in Williamsburg. Haven't seen him in like 8 months since I left the agency. He was with someone, probably a client. He waved me over, all friendly, asked how freelancing was going, and the usual small talk. Then he goes, I never really understood why you left so suddenly. We were about to promote you." And I don't know what came over me, but I just told him. I said I left because he'd take credit for my work in client meetings, because he'd text me at 11 p.m. expecting revisions by morning. Because when I brought up burnout, he told me that's just agency life and laughed it off. I wasn't even angry when I said it. I just stated facts. He literally laughed again and said something like, "Oh, come on, just how creative, that's just how creative work is. You're being sensitive." The person he was with looked uncomfortable as hell, and I just said okay and left. Here's the thing. I spent 3 years convincing myself I was overreacting, that I should have been grateful for the experience, that maybe I was too thin-skinned for the industry. I went into therapy about it. My roommate watched me cry over a deck to redesign it at 2 a.m. because he needed it before the morning meeting. It was a Saturday, and he just laughed. I'm not even mad, honestly. I'm relieved. Like I finally have confirmation that it wasn't me being weak or unprofessional. He really did think that that was acceptable, and now he's someone else's problem. Freelancing is hard and inconsistent, but at least I work till midnight. It's my choice, and my clients actually know my name now, not just his. Anyway, I needed to get that out. Part of me wishes I'd been more honest, but his reaction told me everything. Particular Clue says, if I was that guy's client, I would probably remain polite, but I would definitely be seeking someone else after that exchange out of principle. Yeah, 100%. Deleted says, My boss used to call me on vacation for stupid crap, so I began calling him asking stupid crap while he was on vacation. He was smart enough to get it. I hated having to call my boss when she was on vacation. Hated it. Hated it. Sometimes it was necessary and I hated it. She was fine with it. She was used to it. It happened all I mean, she'd been working there 30 years and she was completely used to it, but I hated having to do it because she's trying to enjoy herself. And she deserved to enjoy herself. Kickaboo Juice says, I just left a job after a decade in December. I was asked to work reduced hours for a reduction in salary sales job, so my work wouldn't be shuffled to other people or anything. Bosses said, nope, the hours are the hours. When I was resigning, they started offering different schedules and other options to keep me. And the look of shock when I said, I asked for this in December, and everyone said no. New job has better hours and pay increase, so I'm good. A decade of experience walking out the door because of their outdated puritanical feelings on a work schedule. Yep, how you lose good people. Next is from What Do I Do? And is entitled Not Safe for Work. So get the kiddies out of the room. Don't be listening to this at work. My mother, a renowned PhD psychologist, is hiding a secret, and I'm ready to tell the world. I, female 35, have a mother who has a PhD in psychology. She is currently works at a core facility member in a major doctoral university, has written several chapters and journals, and has won numerous awards and grants. If you have background in psychology, chances are you've heard of my mom or read some of her stuff. I'll have to ask around. I do know psychologists. I do. My mother was finishing up her bachelor's program. She participated in an internship at a local prison as a counselor for the inmates. I had a brother-in-law that did that. He was a inmate counselor um, for a long time. I think he did the whole 20 years. I'm not sure. At least 15. Here she met a prisoner who she started an intimate relationship with. This prisoner was a convicted child rapist. He was 35 years of age and he was convicted of molesting in the first degree in 1989. I was 10 years old at the time of her meeting him. When my mom graduated with her bachelor's, we moved across the country so she could start her master's degree. She told my brother and I that she was dating an artist in Washington, and as soon as he was done painting a mural, we were going to go back and pick him up and take him home with us to New Mexico. This man almost immediately started to groom and oh my goodness. For example, when I putting me to bed one night, he noticed a bulge in his pants and I asked him what it does. He told me they were his car keys and I should reach into his pocket and grab them. He did not have keys in his pocket. That was when she was 11 or 12, and that's just one example. My mom spent most of her time at school attending classes, or when she was at home, she spent her time in her bedroom working on classwork. She left complete control and supervision of me and my younger brother to this predator. I can't not even imagine. What was she thinking? She has a psychology degree, for Pete's sake. This man was in charge of school pickups and drop offs. My mother, knowing this man was a convicted child predator, allowed this man to drop her two children off on a daily basis to a middle school campus. He shouldn't even been there. Wasn't he on probation after he got out? Well, I guess we didn't have a sex offender. Did we have a sex offenders list in 1989? I can't remember. Nope, that was 1994. So yeah, we didn't even have an offender list in 1989. So he was allowed to do that. Wouldn't be now. Um, During these pickup and drop off, he would make comments about my female classmates' bodies. What a lovely man. He would make comments like about wanting this one or that one to sit on his face. Yuck. I told my mom this makes me uncomfortable. She told me to stop making things up and I'm a liar. The heck. I was grounded to my room for days at a time. At one point during my middle school years, our whole family was banned from the local Blockbuster because my stepfather was following around teenage female employees and making suggestive comments and crude gestures. I cannot believe this woman stayed is with this guy. Like, why? Absolutely, why are you with him? As time went on, my behavior started to get increasingly more aggressive towards this man in my attempt to stop him, which did work. However, because of this, I got in more trouble at home. My mother told me I suffered from borderline personality disorder. Well, maybe, but I wonder why. Her husband would retaliate against me, and it became a he said, she said situation. I tried talking to my mom on more than one occasion, but was told that he was her husband and I was a child and she would always believe him over me. I can't with that. She would also tell me that she loved me because she had to, but she didn't like me. At some point during middle school, my mom had me start seeing a therapist for my behavioral issues. I told this counselor about the abuse at home and she told me that I shouldn't be spreading rumors and asked me if I was trying to ruin my mom's happiness. Should have talked to somebody at school, man. When I was at home, most of the time I was grounded doing punishment work. At points in my childhood, when my mom got tired of me being a bitch all the time and making up lies, she would send me to live with complete strangers, and I do mean strangers, people we had no previously relation with, and once I left, I never heard from or again. It was like foster care without the government intervention. One woman took pity on me and allowed to live with her in Florida for the summer so I could get away from the situation. I never saw or spoke to her again after those 3 months, but I owe her a huge thank you. In my junior year of high school, my mother received her PhD and took a job as an assistant professor at a very well known and large university system. I was left to finish my schooling with a friend in grade ahead of me. Her family owned a business that ran security dog training program. They had 27 Fila Brasileiros, known as Brazilian Mastiffs, okay, that were raised and trained to be guard dogs. These dogs were raised to be aggressive. My friend and I were required to wake up before school, feed and rotate dogs, and attend school stray days, and then come home to clean out dog pens, rotate for potty breaks, and then feed and water, and then do house chores. If this did not happen, no matter what the excuse, we were physically punished. My mother gave them temporary custody of me during this time. When I called her sobbing, begging to take me home because I was scared for my physical safety, she said I would have to stick it out until I graduated. After I was thrown against a wall by my throat, I waited until my guardians had left the house. I threw my belongings into a garbage bag and ran away. I stayed away about a week with a male classmate until I heard he was telling other classmates I was doing it with him. I was not. I was able to stay with another female classmate for about the last 6 months before my graduation, but her parents did not speak any English and I was not able to communicate with them except by third party translation. But at least I was safe and finally graduated with my high school diploma. I'm not really sure how. The same day I received my diploma, my mom came and got me and loaded me off into her new city. I was having mental health issues. I was angry and confused and was struggling with insomnia. And when I was sleeping, I would have nightmares. It was frequent panic attacks. My mother was still married to this man, but she recently found out that he was having an affair with my brother's best friend's girlfriend, like probably 17 at the time. And I was told by my mother that they were doing meth together and were caught a couple of times stealing from my mother to buy drugs. It was at this point I finally, in actual words, said, "Your husband has been sexually abusing me for years." She claimed she had no idea, despite her intensive training on childhood signs of sexual abuse. I mean, she would literally wrote chapters about it, and she couldn't see it in her own house. This woman is terrible. Of course, she would divorce him immediately, and in the meantime, though, she was worried about my mental health, and as a professional, she thought it would be in my best interest for me to admit myself into a psych ward. I was 19. I trusted my mother had my best interest at heart. She came with me to the hospital and told the admitting faculty that I was hallucinating and a danger to myself. They put me on paradol, haloperidol. I won't go into details of the terrifying nightmare being trapped there was. It's not the point of this story. Just know that when I told my mother, a mandatory reporter of the abuse being perpetrated by her husband, she did not call the cops. She did not report the abuse. Instead, she had me placed in a psych ward. and told the doctors I was crazy. And with her background in psychology, they believed her. No questions asked. I was released about 2 weeks, and an overdose of the drug that I was forced to take. I was not allowed to check myself out. And when I was released, I was so terrified of going back that I never spoke of the abuse again. I moved to a city about an hour away and became in low contact with my mother. That's good. That's probably the best thing you could have done. Between brief points of contact, my mother let me know that she was still in contact with her now ex husband. She told me once that her ex almost got his butt kicked out of the trailer park because he was trying to get an 18-year-old girl to come into his trailer, and the father of the child found them first. Thank goodness. Even though she was no longer married to this man, she's still not reporting to the police. She is by law a mandatory reporter. At 31, I met my now husband and had my son. During my pregnancy, I tried creating a better bond with my mother for the sake of my son. I wanted him to have a grandmother. Well, he probably does. Your husband probably has a mom. Things went all the way back up until 2 weeks before my due date. That was when my mother told me that she is now back together with her ex-boyfriend. That'd be a big nope from me. No way. Mm-mm. Not gonna be around him. My kid's not gonna be around him. Nope. She told me she had broken up with him because he put a loaded gun in her face and threatened to murder suicide. Oh my goodness. My mother was planning on visiting me and my newborn. At the time, she lived about 4 hours away. She told me that she would bring her new boyfriend. I would say no. I told her I'm not comfortable with that. She told me that he would be grandpa. No, he would not be grandpa. No way in hell. And he was coming to meet my baby whether I liked it or not. I immediately cut ties and went no contact with my mother. I had several severe panic attacks after this, leading up to the delivery of my baby and ending up having an emergency C-section due to complications. Not surprising, because when you are not relaxed, you cannot push the baby out. So that is not surprising at all. After I cut contact, I found out she was contacting my fiance's family and telling them that I had border personality disorder and was a sociopath, and I was a danger to my baby. I wrote her cease and desist email. She replied, "This is a direct quote from my mother's email. I know you always said Greg molested you. This is actually not true in terms of the law. I don't for a minute deprive you of your feelings of Greg, but some of what you said is not correct. I asked you 1,000 times if Greg ever touched you inappropriately. Every time you told me no. I ask this not only of Greg, but all the men who were around you as a child. I ask this because I know a lot of predators will try to date single women in order to molest their children. Well, then why are you dating a child molester, ma'am? So I just didn't just ask you this because of anything I knew about Greg. I asked you this even about your male teachers, male neighbors. You had multiple direct opportunities to tell me that he molested you and you didn't tell. However, let me remind you that when you told me that Greg molested you, we're an adult. And when I probed you for exactly what happened, you denied he ever touched your parts with any part of his body. The only thing you said that when he was giving you a pedicure, he put your big toe in his mouth. Well, that's enough for me. While I can concede that it was very inappropriate and creepy, it does not meet the law's definition of molestation or even the layman's definition. You also claimed he raped you, which isn't true. How do you know it isn't true, ma'am? Were you there? I also know that you told me he would make comments about your friends' bodies. Again, this is wildly inappropriate. Doesn't make him a pedophile. Yeah, it does, actually. That actually does. So, no, I had no knowledge of any of the things you accused me of. Everything you say he did, you told me years after the fact. Yeah, most people don't wait. Most women wait until they're in their 60s to tell people what happened to them. So the fact that she's telling you this in your 20s and you're not listening is very disturbing. When I confronted you on why you didn't tell me, you kept saying you were a child. You were 11 when we moved to New Mexico. Greg did not come down here until you were 12. Okay, a 12-year-old is still a child. Most of what you accuse him of, you were a teenager, and you told me absolutely none of that at the time was supposedly happening. Okay, and I actually have pictures of you during that time, and you were being very affectionate with Greg. There's a clear in the pictures you were not afraid of him, and in fact looked like you really liked him. This is a direct quote from my mother's email. The email goes on, but is all about how I have mental issues and need help, how I'm toxic and demanding person who destroys relationships and rips families apart. Oh, Jesus, ever end. After this was done, I filed an official complaint with the Mexico Board of Psychology. I gave them a very long and much more detailed statement of everything that happened. I gave them the emails and multiple text exchanges from my mom as evidence. I gave them a copy of my mother's marriage license and a direct link to the sex offender page showing the convicted rape charge and waited 6 months. I heard nothing, so I asked for an update and asked if my mother had been made aware of the complaint against her. I was told that yes, my mother knew of the complaint and that they had a security breach and lost all my emails and documents. I offered to send them back over, and I waited some more. I asked for another update. Case worker told me I have replied to one of your many emails that I have received everything. There is nothing more that is needed at this time. Please note that the board has a 5-year statute of limitations to take disciplinary action. At this point, I stopped asking for updates. About a month later, she reached back out and asked me if I had by chance a copy of the complaint I had submitted. I sent it back over. 2 months later, I received two different copies of a closure letter, one for me and one for my mother, but my mother's was recalled very quickly as they don't believe it was meant for me. The letter stated that the committee met and reviewed the case I filed, but decided to close the complaint at that time. I was never interviewed. I was never asked to speak on or give clarification of any part of my statement. After my case was closed, the sex offender page that shows the convicted rape was removed. It completely disappeared. He's no longer on the registry at all. Huh? My mother is still a core professor teaching psychology at the same well known university. In fact, according to her current course list, she teaches a course on crisis management. I wonder if she tells her doctoral students that if someone tells you they're experiencing abuse at the hands of your husband, make sure that you have that person committed to a psych ward and tell the doctors she knows, the doctors, and let the doctors know she's crazy and hallucinating. So what do I do now? I want justice. I believe my mother has committed criminal actions given the fact that is a mandatory reporter and helped hide his crimes. She has also hidden the fact that she married a convicted rapist whom she met through his personal counseling of during an internship at a bachelor's degree in psychology. I also want her to publicly exposed. I want everyone to know exactly what kind of monster she is, and I want her reputation ruined, her license gone. She'll never work another day in her field. She'll be used in future psychology textbooks as an example of how not to behave. I also want her publicly exposed. I want everyone to know exactly what kind of monster she is. I want her reputation ruined, her license gone. She'll never work another day in her field. She'll also be used in future psychology textbook as an example of how not to behave. I want to be vindicated of the years worth of slander she has made against me to protect her own reputation. Because of her, I do not talk to a single member of my immediate or extended family. She completely isolated me. So, Reddit, what do I do? Who do I talk to? FBI, governors, congressmen, any podcasters or YouTubers that would want to collaborate with me on exposing my mom as a well known and leading psychologist who writes journals articles on sexual predators and gave her daughter to one, who then tried to cover it up by committing me to a psych ward and nearly overdosing me on a first generation psychopathic um, anti-psychopathic by lying to medical staff. My mom has built her reputation on being a safe space for children and being an expert in knowing the signs and psychology behind sexual predators, but I think the public deserves to know she has been harboring one this entire time. This is a season of justice and I need help getting mine, please. Update. So to clarify a few things, the predator did disappear from the registry. You will not find him on there even if I did provide a name. But I screenshot it before it disappeared and I got proof in hand. I also have the marriage license proving she was legally married to him. So thanks for everybody's advice between this and the email that she wrote in her own damning words. I think I had enough to prove I have a credible story and someone to listen to me. Um, Last time I tried to speak out, I was forced into a psych ward and overdosed on a powerful drug I never should have been on. And y'all's advice and validation has been beyond helpful. I'm reaching out to someone qualified to help me now. Thanks to you guys. I must say, please respect my privacy at this time. You guys will learn who I am and who she is very enough. I promise. Jeez. Jeez, that was heavy. I'm sorry, guys. Holy cow. I hope we find out who she is. So, if you hear of any bigwig psychologist getting hammered online, or hopefully in the justice system, we will know who this is finally. This is from Entitled Parents and is entitled AITJ for pulling my mom's name from a local arts fundraiser after I found out she built her whole speech around my private journals. My mom is 61 and has spent the last few years reinventing herself as a very public community person. She sits on boards, chairs, galas, and does those smiling photos with giant checks, all of it. I'm 34, female, and work in design, and usually keep a pretty separate life from hers because she has a talent for turning anything personal into a story about herself. We were not no contact, just careful. Last month, one of her friends asked whether I would donate a framed print to a local fundraiser for a woman's resource center, and I said yes because it was for a good cause, and because my mom swore she was only helping with logistics and not making it a family thing. A week later, she sent me a draft of the event program so I could check the spelling of my name. Tucked into the last page was a preview of her closing remarks, and my stomach dropped. She built the emotional center of her speech around raising a sensitive, difficult daughter and learning to love me through my storms. She quoted lines from my journals I wrote as a teenager, including one entry about feeling watched in my own house and another about wishing I could grow up somewhere so no one would already know who I was. I mean, that's pretty normal stuff for a kid, but geez. Those journals were not given to her. She found them years ago when I moved apartments and said later that she had kept them safe. I genuinely thought that meant in a box, not in her back pocket for future audience. I called her right away and she acted baffled that I was upset. She said the speech was not about me, but about motherhood, resilience, and how parents survive being misunderstood. When I asked my private why my private writing was in that at all, she said those words were part of her life too because she lived through that period with me. When she got offended and said I should be honored that something so painful was being transformed into something useful and beautiful, the phrase that made me ill, I contacted the event chair myself and withdrew my print and told him I did not consent to being referenced in any speech or program materials. The chair was horrified and pulled my mom from speaking until they could sort it out. Now my mom is furious, saying I humiliated her, damaged her standing in the community, and took money away from a woman who needed the fundraiser because I chose to be petty about old notebooks. My aunt says I should have handled it privately after the event instead of blowing up days before. No, absolutely not. Because she would have that put out there. No. I think if I had stayed quiet, I would be sitting in a ballroom with my mom reading my teenage pain into a microphone and calling it generosity. No, no, no. Not at all. Oh No Consequences, and it's entitled "Trying to Kick This Fake Head Off the Table for Clicks" or something. It's a looks like a TikTok. Oops, not what I meant to do. Okay, I lost the play button. That's pretty funny. I gotta admit, that's pretty funny. Okay, that's all we're doing. I gotta get off of here, so we gotta finish up. Mildly infuriating. My landlord installed an app-controlled smart deadbolt while I was at work. Had to stand outside at 11 p.m. on downloading an app to get into my own place. It needed an account, email verification, a six-digit PIN, location services on, and 27 pages of terms and condition. My phone was at 12%. I was holding a rotisserie chicken. Called him this morning and asked what happens when my phone dies. He said the app rarely goes down. That's not an answer, Kevin. My keys never crashed. This is from Am I Overreacting? And is entitled "Am I Overreacting? I went to the forest with my best friend and now boyfriend is mad." I'm not gonna read the whole text thing. Hi Reddit. I've never really been one to post, but I don't know. This is more of a he is overreacting. So I, female 25, have a best friend, female 21. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah invited me on an impromptu dystopian photo shoot in the woods, abandoned community. I said yes because I really wanted to, and we also brought our dogs. Then I told my boyfriend, male 40. Did she say 40? Tell me that's a typo. She's 25. Why is she dating a 40-year-old man? That I was going. The way up there was 2.5 hours because of traffic and getting a bit lost. I left my house around 2:10. My friend is 15 minutes away, and then we went to AutoZone, Vietnamese restaurant, a gas station for snacks. We got to the site around 5:30. Our reception was cut off, but we were there until around 8:30, and then again the ride home without traffic and being lost was about an hour and 45 minutes. We stopped at a bar to look at some digitals we took because I would have to wait to get the pictures before I got them fully. We were at the bar till 10:30 and left and went back to Sarah's house at 12:45. We said our goodbyes to the photographer and I was extremely tired, so I texted him that I was going to sleep at Sarah's, mainly because I had to be up at 4 for work. And this is the text we had this morning. Did I mess up and I'm wrong? Because I don't want to lose him. Um, she told him everything she was doing. He's mad because she didn't plan to go out and he's not cool with it. Okay, he's 40 years old and he's very controlling. Dump him. Dump him. Get somebody your own age that's not controlling. I had a crisis of morality today. I'm good at my job, but I'm not that good at my job. It was a family of six, two parents, four kids, and kids eat free at my restaurant on Sunday. So the check was pretty heavily discounted, but I don't think they were excited enough about it to tip that much. I almost just didn't say anything, but I would have been able to sleep at night. They have four kids. Maybe they were trying to bless someone. I don't think that's the case. Management told me they can't change the amount or even contact them. At the end of the day, I did what I thought was right, and it meant a full night's sleep instead of a $150 tip. I'll take it. So this is what happened. Discount $28, so total 36. Total 39. Well, let's do 0. I'm confused. I probably meant to put 22% or something. I'm confused about what she did though. She kept it. I hope that's what they meant to do. Best of her updates. What is with today? My husband is going to unalive me. This was originally posted in r/off my chest on April 21st, 2024. So about 2 years ago. My husband and I have not been together long, admittedly. It's only been 4 years. Other marriages make ours look like baby marriages. Like makes ours look like a baby marriage. My husband started hitting me around year one, which blindsided me as he's always been a loving, caring man. I never saw this coming, even when it was staring at me in the face. He never stopped hitting me, it only evolved from hitting to beating. Cops have been called on multiple occasions, but they never do anything. I've started to see police officers as nothing more than a decorative object, just there to look good and make you feel safe temporarily. Sometimes that's true. Especially TSA agents, they're just there to make you feel safe. They don't really do that much. Today we had a particularly bad day. He didn't get the promotion he wanted, but nobody is. The economy, especially for the working class, is falling apart. I tried to say this, but he began getting agitated, so I shut up. Then he noticed I was using Facebook and I was talking to my brother, and he absolutely lost it, and I just don't understand why. I curled in a ball and waited for him to be done with it. I don't know why I put up with this. I don't know why you do either. Get out of there. After I thought he was done, I moved to get up and he grabbed me and started choking me. I honestly thought he was going to end me, but he must have gotten bored or something because he stopped. I've since locked myself in the bathroom and I'm writing this on my laptop. I have no idea what I'm going to do. You're going to call the police and you're going to leave. I have no savings as my husband want me to be a stay-at-home wife. I don't have a license since mine expired. Um I don't but I know no he won't take me to get it renewed. I don't he should let it expire. I don't have a tiny bit of change or bus fare to get to the DDS building. Not that they'd help me. Anyways, the last time I tried, they told me that they couldn't even claim I was homeless because I had somewhere to go back to. Where do you live? Editor's note. OOP did not leave any comments on this original. Top comments. Commenter one. If he strangles you, he's way more likely to murder you. In fact, around 7,000% more likely. I know that sounds insane, but it's really a searchable statistic. Please search for domestic violence shelters in your area. Nothing he can do is worth your life. Commenter number two. Is your brother nearby? Could he help you find somewhere safe to stay? Please call the police. You can have him charged with attempted murder for strangling you. Take pics and send them to somebody you trust. Don't leave the bathroom. Please have someone call for help if you are unable. Commenter three, the reason he wanted you to be a stay at home wife is because he wanted you to be financially dependent on him and unable to leave. Exactly. He doesn't want you to get your license renewed because it makes you even more dependent on him. Please call your brother and ask him to get you out. Tell him everything that is going on. If he can't help you, just call anyone else in your life that can. If you have no one else, please call a domestic violence shelter. Please don't resign yourself to a lifetime of abuse. You can get out. Commenter four, first let people in your family know what's going on, like right now. Um, Update 2 hours later. First of all, I'd like to apologize for causing everyone to worry. I've not gotten out yet, but I'm planning on it. My brother is going to pick me up while my husband is at work and take me to an old high school friend's house. She couldn't afford rent on her own anyways. I've started looking for jobs in that area. It's going to be nice to work again. I realized that being a stay-at-home anything is not for me. I don't want to have to rely on anybody for my lifestyle, especially if someone could just rip it up for me at any time. Finally, thank you for the comments and DMs to ensure I'm okay. I will answer all the DMs as there are only 15 of them. As for the comments, I probably won't comment on the comments, though I'm thankful for them. 2 days later, update. So a lot of stuff happened yesterday. I'm glad my brother was able to help me, but I shouldn't have gotten him involved. He's 16 and just started driving. He's really good at it though, most likely because our father spent a lot of time teaching him before he even turned 16 on private property. Oh, anyways, my brother pulled up and began helping me pack myself basic necessities like clothes, hygiene products, and my laptop. But for some reason, my husband came home early because he has cameras in the house. I'm gonna bet really early, like it was 12:45 when he pulled up. And I have no idea why he came home so early. As you can guess, the situation did not go well. He started yelling at me and my brother. His yelling even got the attention of the neighbors. Some of them came outside, but nobody said anything. They all just kind of stood there because they want to make sure he's not going to put hands on you. Yelling is okay. I mean, people yell. I heard my neighbors yelling the other day. But once you start putting hands on people, that's when people start calling the cops. Anyway, my husband kept screaming at me all kinds of horrible names. I'm not going to get into what those are, but they seriously pissed off my brother, who started screaming at him back. Things came to a head when my husband grabbed my brother. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I don't remember, but the next thing I do remember, I was stood in front of my brother and my husband was on the ground with a bloody nose. Good for you. The police showed up shortly after. I can only assume one of the neighbors called the police. When they pulled up, my husband went ate crap. The police tried to de-escalate the situation, but my husband made the idiotic choice to lay hands on an officer. So long story short, my husband got arrested. The police talked to me, my brother, and the neighbors. I didn't get charged or anything. I was terrified I was going to be put going to be, but the police said I was well within my right to punch him, but I should have prioritized de-escalation. Anyway, after everything was done, we left. I made to my friend's house without much of an issue. I'm so happy to be away. I'm ecstatic to get back to some of my old hobbies. I might take up playing the Elder Scrolls uh, 5 Skyrim. Thank you all for following my story. I'm so thankful for all the advice and kind words and everything you've given me. I'm so glad she's back where she is. She's gone. So that's good. All right. This is from Made Me Smile. It's called Back Where It Belongs. 13 years ago, I had to sell my guitar. I had it in high school because I was broke. Last week, I randomly found a guy selling it on Facebook and it's back home. Oh, I'm so happy. That's awesome. That makes me smile too. That's so nice. Sometimes said that's kind of crazy. Someone answers, I've seen my guitars go up for resale before. In my experience, people tend to keep it only if they have one guitar, but many dedicated players will end up with more than one, often way too many. So it's not uncommon to see people trying to offload a ton of gear they acquired, perhaps at the behest of a spouse. Well, I hope not. Informal Rock says, yes, current owner of 8 guitars and basses. Only one was bought brand new. At one point, have had 15 at the same time. Probably owned 30 years guitars over the years. Have seen at least 2 of mine up for resale. One was being resold by the guy who bought it from me. Um, Somebody said, I don't know 100%, but unless he memorizes a serial number or some unique dings or damage, it might not be the same guitar. Sold a guitar a few months ago. I thought was pretty rare guitar in Canada. Wasn't the best for me, but it had some high-end features for the price. Hadn't seen it hadn't seen that one new or used before a week ago after I sold it. I saw some model being sold. It could have been the same as my old one, but I sold it to a friend and they still have me. Sorry for the rant. It doesn't matter as long as he thinks it's his guitar, right? All right, that's all I got for today. You all have a very lovely day. Have a lovely weekend because I won't be back until Tuesday. Um, So have a lovely weekend. Unless something happens and then I get on here an emergency, blah blah blah. You know, you know, you know how it goes. All right. Love you, my biddies. Have a good weekend. Love you. Bye. Bye. Love you.